Campers, welcome to the world according to Yoni. I am what's left of the brain of Yoni Martin. This is our gala pre-election special. I don't know what's going to be special about it, but here's the thing. By the time most of you see this, it'll either be election day or it'll be post-election day. So everything I say today, unless you watch the show tonight or tomorrow, is meaningless. I'd like to show you the shirt I chose to wear for this show. It says, I have issues. And you know what? I have issues. We are in crazy land. Me as much as anybody, if not more so. But I've been trying to figure out what the hell I was going to say to all of you today. The thing is, our lives are going to either change radically for the good or get even worse, depending upon what happens on election day. So at this moment, we don't know. Now, by the time you're looking at it, we may know. I don't know. But as you can see, I've kind of just lost my mind about it. But that's okay, because most of you have too. But I thought, because, all of us are crazed, or most of us are crazed. If you have any sanity, you are crazed. If you don't feel crazed, and you are calm and sedate, you're obviously not living in the United States. That being said, I want to start out with something that I think may be one of the most positive parts of the last few months. And I'm rather proud to be part of the entertainment industry, because the entertainment industry has done an amazing job in helping raise funds for the Democrats, especially in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. And I just want to give kudos to a few of them. I know I'm going to leave somebody or something out, but this should give you an idea of what's happened. I mentioned the Princess Bride cast reunion a few weeks ago, wherein Carrie Elways contacted the Wisconsin Democratic Party, or was contacted by, I don't know which way it went, but he set up the Princess Bride reunion with Rob Reiner. And it was an amazing, just wonderful. I mean, to see Mandy Patinkin chewing scenery like he did in the film years, 20, 30 years ago now? And Elway's looking the same, Wallace Shawn, Christopher Guest, Billy Crystal. It was just amazing. Oh, Chris Sarandon and Rob Reiner, the director. And I need to give a special shout out to Patton Oswalt, who not only hosted for the Princess Bride, he hosted a number of these reunions, and he was wonderful. He really was great. So go Patton. But also the Parks and Recreation cast, Amy Poehler, Aubrey Plaza, Adam Scott, Nick Offerman, members of the cast of Seinfeld, minus Jerry Seinfeld, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jason Alexander, and co-creator of the show, Larry David. They were out there, and they raised, I think, $500,000. Or maybe that was Veep. I don't know. The cast of Veep. Again, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Anna Chomsky, Brad Scott, Sam Richardson, Tony Hale. All these wonderful, talented people putting their time and asses on the line to help raise money for the Democrats. Happy Days brought together Ron Howard, Henry Winkler, Marion Ross, Anson Williams, Don Most, and probably one of the funniest things of the entire season, which is John Stamos volunteering to read the role of Chachi for Scott Baio, who I gather was not real happy that the cast was doing it. What did you expect, Scott? You're the only fascist asshole in the cast. Everybody else was really cool. Everybody else believes in democracy. God only knows what you believe in. Then there was a Spinal Tap, the Spinal Tap reunion. Again, hosted by Patton Oswalt, Christopher Guest once again, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, Fran Drescher, Rob Reiner. It was a wonderful, wonderful show. I just loved every minute of it. They showed clips and they talked about it. And if you're a Spinal Tap fan, you had to love what they did. Then let's go for the entire living cast of The West Wing. What can I say? They not only got together to raise money, but they did. I don't know what do we call it? Because it was more than a reading. It was basically recreating one of the most popular episodes in the show's history, Hartsfield's Landing. I think that was from season 3, if I remember correctly. And they haven't lost a step. I mean, they're older. They look different, a lot of them. But Martin Sheen, Bradley Whitford, Alice and Janney, they are amazing people. And what they did is amazing. So I think this is what I want to think about. I want to think about the positives. I want to think about the comedy special Laughing All the Way to the White House, which, again, Bradley Whitford hosted. And it had got Sarah Silverman, Louis Black, Whitney Cummings. I'm trying to remember everybody. It was Sarah Cooper, who I think is hysterical. Whitney Cummings. Did I say Whitney Cummings? I don't know. Greg Proops, it was just amazing. It was hysterically funny. And again, they did it to benefit the Democrats. So what can I say? Last Saturday night, the cast, or a cast, of the Rocky Horror Show presented a version of the Rocky Horror Show. Now, I want to give kudos to everyone involved in that show for coming together and trying to do what they did. Jason Alexander as the narrator was wonderful. Little Nell from the original cast in the film, she kind of saved the day. And she's Australian, but she's lived in Britain most of her adult life. And still raising money for Wisconsin Democrats. It was kind of sad because, Tim Curry has had a stroke and he was having a difficult time and everybody was trying to help him out. But it was kind of heartrending to watch him. But he was out there and he did it and he tried. It was part of an election season that saw so much good being done that I want to think about that. I want to think about the good things because I don't know what's going to happen in the election. It's going to be really interesting, especially since a lot of you will know the results by the time you see or hear this. And by the way, I apologize for those who are listening to the podcast, not viewing it on the video. My shirt says, I have issues. And I do. Obviously, we all do. If you're saying you have issues at the moment. I'm scared to death. I am scared to death because I know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to win the popular vote. I don't have a doubt in the world. I think they're going to crush the popular vote. But Mitch McConnell, that motherfucking son of a bitch who doesn't give a damn about the United States, democracy, or his own state of Kentucky. All he cares about is how much he can line his pockets with and power. And all he wanted to do was put as many Republican judges into position to turn this country into a fascist state. I mean, there's no other way of phrasing it. They are enabling a white supremacist, and most of them, let's face it, are white supremacists. Which brings me to one of my favorite people, Miss Lindsey Graham. A couple nights ago, you know, Lindsey's getting a run for his money from Jamie Harrison, who I hope kicks the shit out of him. But Miss Lindsey, the bachelor, the guy who's never been married, talking about it's okay to live in this country if you have family values, and women, if you don't believe in abortion, you can live in this country. If you follow what Lindsey Graham believes are family values, everything's all right. Lindsey Graham's family values? I mean, come on. We all know what's going on here. And I don't know. I think John McCain must be turning in his grave to see what his friend Lindsey Graham has become. Cindy McCain, his widow, has come out in favor of Joe Biden because he and John McCain were close friends, and they belonged to a group of politicians, the old-style politicians, who would fight, you know, in the Senate and in the House, and then afterwards they'd go out to dinner, talk, and they would reach an accord. It didn't please everybody on the right, it didn't please everybody on the left, but they were human beings communicating with each other, trying to work out something that would hopefully benefit the people of this country. Well, that no longer exists. Let's face it. The Republican Party, or as I call them, the Rethuglican Party, with a KKK in the middle of it, they hate the Democrats. They are trying to vilify the Democrats, and they are doing it by lying. They make the lies that Donald Trump tells on a daily basis look like nothing, because there are a whole slew of them. There are more than 50 in the Senate who lie every single day and have done nothing to help the people of this country. We have 230,000 plus people who have died from the COVID pandemic. We have hospitals in Wisconsin and Montana and a whole slew of states that wanted to pretend that this pandemic didn't exist, whose hospitals are overrun, whose doctors and nurses just don't know what to do. They're so overrun with patients being sick. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to hold his super spreader events where people every time contract the COVID virus. and spread it to others because they want to believe it's not real, or they're telling people it's not real. They're still doing that after more than 250,000 people have died and millions of others have been infected. I don't know what to say. I don't think most of you know what to say, because we are all so frustrated. And one of the things that frustrates us the most is that anybody could be ignorant enough, stupid enough, insane enough to buy this shit. That Donald Trump is going out every day and inciting violence. He is inciting his supporters to carry guns, to intimidate voters. Republicans in many states, Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, the places you'd expect that are run by Republicans, are using voter suppression tactics, and they're doing it out in the open. And I don't know what any of us can do about it. I really don't. It's mind-numbing. I haven't slept well in, I don't know, a month, maybe more. I know a lot of people listening and watching this haven't slept very well. And I know that on Election Day, which as I record this is tomorrow, I'm going to have to get fucked up in some way to get through it. I don't know. I don't know how else to do it. What are you going to do? You know, how are you going to get through it? Because as I said earlier, I have no doubt that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to crush the popular vote. But we have this thing in this country called the Electoral College. The Electoral College should have been abolished 100 years ago. It is a racist institution that gives more power to little states than places like California and New York, who put more money into the federal coffers than most of the other states combined. I mean, California is the third largest economy on the planet. But Republicans like to talk about the coastal elites. When they say that, they're talking about people in New York and California. What does that mean? Can you tell me? It's a way of trying to make people in the middle of the country believe that the people on both coasts are these elitist snots who don't care about anybody and think they're smarter and whatever than anybody else. Well, Chicago's in the middle of the country. They've got some pretty sharp people there. Last time I looked, Al Franken was in Minnesota. He seems to be doing pretty well. I wish he was still in the Senate, but hey, that's another story. It's another lie, because they want to scare people. They want people scared, because scared people are easily manipulated. And that, my friends, is your standard Republican voter. It may not have been that way 30, 40 years ago, but the Republican Party has moved ever rightward, certainly throughout my life. And I want to remind you of something. Donald Trump did not create this Republican Party. This Republican Party created Donald Trump. He is their baby. They not only created him, they have enabled him as he encouraged violence, as he incited violence, as he broke every law in the book that would have had you or me in prison for the rest of our lives. And considering Donald Trump's history, that's pretty funny, because in New York State, before he even ran for president, he'd broken so many laws he should have been in jail years ago. And his spawn, Donnie Jr., Ivanka, Eric, even Tiffany, who started opening her stupid mouth. I mean, these people are vile. They belong in prison. They don't care about the people of this country. It's all about power and lining their pockets. I mean, hell, there are people who think Ivanka Trump is going to be president someday. I don't know how that's going to happen when she's in prison, but hey, who knows? So that's kind of where we're at. There have been some wonderful people doing wonderful things, and then there are the horrible people doing horrible things. So when you watch this, and when you listen to this, you may already know the outcome. Again, I'm terrified, because the Electoral College has elected 2 presidents in 20 years where the public voted for the other guy, or the other woman, as the case may be. Hillary Clinton should be president now. Al Gore should have been president in 2000. And while I know everybody's talking about Donald Trump wanting his Supreme Court, and let's face it, at this point, it is his Supreme Court, to decide this election, because he knows he can't win it honestly, the Supreme Court doesn't really have a mandate to choose the president. It's not their job. But they got away with it in 2000, so they figure, well, we can get away with it in 2020. Folks, it's up to us. Now, a few of you will hear this before you have voted, and I urge you, from the bottom of my heart, to go out and vote. Stand in lines, bring a chair if you have to, wear a mask, observe social distancing, but vote like your life depends on it, because, folks, your lives do depend on it, whether you realize it or not. I could go on like this for hours, but I'm not going to, because it's redundant. It's the same thing over and over. It's the same posts I've put on Twitter. It's the same posts you've put on Twitter. It's the same stuff we've put on Facebook. It's the same reason many of us have been suspended or banned from Facebook and Twitter and had to create new accounts. I did. Because you voiced your opinions. And they weren't opinions that the people who run these corporations like. Because they like money. I mean, that's what they're about. They're corporations. Money. America can no longer afford to be run by Wall Street and corporations, especially the multinational billion-dollar corporations that pay no taxes. And stop believing the lie that they tell over and over, that the Democrats want to raise your taxes. They want to raise taxes on people making $400,000 a year and more, who have all these loopholes where they're allowed to pay less than I am, and I don't have much of an income at all. So, it's time for a change. Are we going to get everything we want with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Hell no. We wouldn't get everything we wanted if it was Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. It doesn't work that way. The system does not work that way. We make incremental improvements, or we take a plunge and we let this country become a fascist dictatorship akin to Nazi Germany in 1933. It's up to all of us. But if the Democrats go out there in force, there's nothing the Republican Party can do. Okay? There's nothing they can do because we are the majority. And even a lot of Republicans and independents are disgusted by what they've seen. So let's do our job. Let's go out there and let's save this country. For me, for my daughter, for you, for your children, and your children's children, because that's who we're fighting for. And if by any chance you are in your 20s, in your teens, in your 30s even, and listening or watching this, this is your world, kids. This is what you're going to be left with. So get out there and vote because your futures are at stake. Anyway, I think that's about it for my rant. I am so fucked up at the moment. And I don't mean by drugs or alcohol or anything else. I'm just emotionally spent. And I know many of you are too. So let's see what we can do and let's see what happens. And thank you for watching and or listening and supporting this show, because without you, I'm just sitting here playing with myself because it doesn't help. Thank you for joining me. I usually sign off with something cheery and fun and upbeat, and I'm going to try to do that right now. So let's see. What can I say that's cheery and upbeat? Save the country. Save the planet. Save the United States of America. Make our forefathers proud of us. And make the rest of the planet proud of us. You can do it. I believe in you. Thanks, and I will see you next time. And hopefully we will be partying it down. And I will have a guest to party down with. Yay, team! Good evening. Good luck. And may the force be with us.